Hey friends, the Stomp team was just at the Invisible House in Joshua Tree, and now we've moved to Palm Springs, California. We're here at the Roy Disney Estate, a Mediterranean villa with historic charm. It's absolutely spectacular. So watch this video to see what it is that we liked about this classic historic estate and how you can use some of these tips in your business as well. What's really cool about this place is it's actually used by the owners. And we were talking about this last night as a team. What tends to happen, and it can happen in our own properties too, some of these like professionally managed places that are really run as businesses might be really clean and spotless and check all the boxes, but they're missing that like humanity and that soul, and they feel empty and vapid, and it's just not really warm and welcoming. And this place is very different. We feel like we're in, somebody's home, we're a guest here, and it's really spectacular. Now, just in the interest of full disclosure, you can also go way too far to that extreme too, and like it's really uncomfortable to actually be in somebody's home that's living there and they've got family photos and so on and so forth. So I just want to be clear. I think that the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? So it's got to be clean, it's got to be spotless, it's got to be, really comfortable for everybody, but it can't be generic. And in fact, many hotels just make it so that it's completely like you could be in Akron, Ohio, or you could be in Tokyo, and it doesn't really matter. It's the same decor, it's the same everything. Finding that personal touch, that warmth, that character is really, really important. And I'd encourage you to do the same in your properties to the extent that you're hosting. So there's a few things that I want to highlight as it relates to the architecture and the design. As I mentioned, this is a Spanish Mediterranean design, and it's just really, really different than your average home, especially down here where a lot of the homes, like by design, were built around the same time and to look very similar. The main thing in hosting or running any of these businesses is to differentiate yourself, right? Like if you're one of 100 that's doing the exact same thing, you're basically a price taker, right? So whatever the lowest price point is, that's who's going to get booked. But if you start to differentiate yourself and you have unique architecture that may not appeal to everybody, but it appeals to some, those few people will pay a lot for that. But enough about me. Let me go get my better half, and she's going to walk you through her thoughts. Her emotional intelligence and what she focuses on and pays attention to is different than what I focus on and what I pay attention to. And so we here at the channel will benefit from having both of us.
When we first arrived, I thought the property was so charming. It really confirmed for me that the choices you make in decor make really all the difference. You can make people feel very much at home, make people feel very comfortable, based on color choice, based on furniture choice, art choice, toiletry choice. And I think that was the biggest difference, at least for me, between this house and the house that we stayed at prior. The Invisible House is iconic, right? Like you want to go. We were all so excited to see it. We drove up and it was just like, we were all picking our jaws up off the ground. Like we were just, oh my God, like, this is amazing. And it was, and it was absolutely beautiful. That being said, once the awe wore off and we were living in this space for a couple of days, the awe wasn't enough to sustain us. You walk in and it felt cold. It felt like it hadn't been lived in. There was no furniture you wanted to just fall into. The sofa that they chose in the Invisible House, there was no backs to it. So we couldn't really move from the dining table where we were conversing at the end of the day and move to another space. And that was noticeable. As epic as this house was, as beautiful as this house was. And what I would say differently with staying here, it felt very much like I was home. It had a very comfortable, easy feel to it. This is what I want people to feel when they stay at our properties. If we can create a sense of just peace and comfort and belonging and home, that's very much the goal. That I think is special. That's creating a home away from home. Live your experience. There are times when it's very appropriate to cut corners. Don't cut corners on your linens or your pillows. If you have selected a toiletry for your guests, if it's something where you're just like, oh my gosh, I would never use this in my own shower, don't ask your guests to use it. Be thoughtful. Treat every guest and every decision as though it's your mother-in-law. What do you want your mother-in-law to smell when they walk in the room? How comfortable do you want your mother-in-law to sleep at night? And then I would say, give a great sense of place. Incorporating local businesses into your property is massive. Showcase those. If there's a local treat, whether it's a local chocolate or a local winery or local cheeses that you can, offer to your guests. Like, we love surprising our guests with a vase of flowers as they arrive, whether it's something that they've arranged in advance or asked for in advance or not. We want them to know that we value the fact that they chose us, that they chose to stay with us. There's so many other options out there. Thank you for the compliment of choosing us. Okay, so that is the extent of my pearls of wisdom. So I'm going to sign off and bring back the guy that you're all eagerly awaiting to hear from. So thank you for your time.
So let's give it up for Erika. Isn't she lovely? If you please would comment below and like the video, encourage her to come back, because we view her as a tremendous asset here on all of our different properties. And I might be more IQ and quantitative focused, and she's all heart and emotional intelligence. And as you know, I firmly believe in hospitality. Emotional intelligence trumps all. So we want to hear more from her, and I would appreciate it very much if you would encourage her to come back. So I mentioned a little earlier that the host had to meet us here, and that's a Palm Springs law, and they were really wonderful and very, very nice. But I do want to mention that you can be too nice, meaning like you can overstay your welcome. There's people that will say, I'm going to go meet somebody and I'm going to walk you through the entire home. You have to be mindful of guests have been traveling a long period of time. They could have dinner reservations. They could want to take a shower. There's all sorts of things. I mean, they really want to come into the home. They want to be shown the highlights, the important things, hit the high notes. But then if you're a host that's greeting your guests, make sure you give them the privacy. They're not here to make friends. They're not here to tour the entire home and all the intricacies. And here's the furnace, and here's how you do this, and here's how you reset that. Like, if you have to have that level of instruction, that home probably should not be an Airbnb. Don't forget, if there's any questions during their stay, they can reach out to you via Airbnb or Verbo or however you're communicating. So you don't have to hit everything. It's not supposed to be comprehensive. It's not like a work assignment. It's people are on vacation or they're traveling for work or whatever. Let them get on with their day. In closing, I just want to thank you all. It's been a long time since I've been in front of the camera. I'm really excited to get back on it. And in fact, we're expanding. So if you're enjoying this content and you also participate on other platforms, you can find me at I'm Richard Fertig on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and on X. We have different content in all those different locations, different lengths, different mediums, etc. So we're taking this seriously. We're back and we're super excited. So I can't wait to see you there. Thank you.